Hello, I'm Yutaka Watanabe, a tax accountant. This is the channel Tax Accountant Nabe solves your money problems. Today, I'll talk about tax audit, service fees paid to related companies. Let me start with a phrase that may make you a little nervous. Tax audits are monitoring your related companies. No, this is not an exaggerated threat at all. You may be thinking, well, these are just transactions between group companies, so it should be okay to be a little flexible. But actually, that family-like mindset is the biggest red flag, the biggest warning sign. Tax auditors are marking that point from the very beginning. Let us make clear here the item that they watch most closely. In other words, the item that could be called the most important suspect. That is service fee paid to related companies. The materials clearly state that this is an item that receive particular attention in tax audit. Why? Because transactions between related parties do not receive the strict external checks that transactions with outside parties do. This is why profit manipulation and unclear movement of money are more likely to occur. From the tax office perspective, this is a treasure trove that absolutely must be dug into. That is exactly why, when handling this area, you must be as careful as if you were being watched by surveillance cameras at all times. So, what exactly are auditors searching for so intensely? From here, let us look at two serious corporate violations that they specifically target. These are not mere calculation errors. They are fatal rule violations that companies may commit intentionally or sometimes without fully realizing it. What is interesting is that these violations occur in two completely different patterns. The first is fictitious transactions. Money is paid under names such as consulting fees or outstanding fees, but in reality, no service have been provided at all. In other words, it is a completely fake transaction that exists only on paper. The second is excessive fees. In this case, the transaction itself actually exists. But the problem is that the fee paid is completely disproportionate to the content of the work performed and is unfairly too high. And surprisingly, according to the material, these cases are seen here and there. This is not sometimes that happens only a tiny number of bad companies. It is sometimes found quite often, and it is not rare at all. So, how do tax auditors expose the fact that there is no actual substance or that the amount is too high? From here, we will look closely at tax auditors' meticulous tracking, almost like a forensic investigation. They do not act merely on a vague feeling that sometimes seems suspicious. They conduct a systematic and strict investigation, pressing in one by one on contradictions in the company's claims. Let's look at the three reliable steps taken by tax auditors. Step 1. They thoroughly check whether there is any discrepancy between the contract items and actual provision of service. They compare what is written in the contract with who did what, when, and how. Step 2. They actually trace not only the numbers, but also the actual flow of money. Did that money really move? Where did it go afterward? That is why they examine. Step 3. Personally, I think this is the scariest part. They investigate not only the company that paid the money, but also how the related company that received the money handled the matter. Did that company really have the people or equipment needed to perform the work? How did it actually respond? When these three steps are combined, an inescapable net of evidence is completed. This is an extremely important point. No matter how perfect a contract you prepare and how neatly you store it in a clean file, if there is no actual substance behind the service, those documents will not serve as any shield in front of a tax auditor. The beautiful words in the contract and the reality on the ground. If there is even the slightest sense of inconsistency between the two, the tax auditor will use that as the entry point and cut in without mercy. Many companies feel reassured, thinking, we prepared the documents, so we should be fine. But tax auditors are always looking at the raw reality behind those documents. And this is expressed perfectly by this powerful phrase. They are easily discovered. There is no room for excuse there. You must never think that you may be also to hide it successfully. No matter how cleverly you think you have camouflaged it, when the three steps mentioned are real and combined, the discrepancy between the contract and the actual substance, the real movement of money, and the unnatural response of the related company, a professional auditor can expose wrongdoing very easily. It is harsh, but this is the reality. Now, finally, I'd like to close today's explanation by asking you something that may make you feel a little uneasy. If a tax auditor came to your office today, right now, and compared your contract with related companies against your actual business process, what would they discover there? Could there be any fictitious transactions with no actual substance mixed in somewhere? Are you paying fees that are too high for the actual work being performed? Before a tax auditor actually knocks on your door, please take a close look right now at your company's book and the actual substance of your business with the eyes of a strict detective. Today, I talk about tax audit, service fees paid to related companies. For more information about tax audit, please also visit the page of Yutaka Watanabe, Tax Audit, Tax Accountant Office. I'll continue to talk about topics related to money, so please subscribe to the channel. Tax Accountant Nabe solves your money problems.